Hi, everyone. Carmine Dinisco here, UIA-TV. We got another brand new season for all of you fanatic listeners out there. I am going to bring on my co-host, the man who is planning this series, Mr. Christopher Guerrera. Chris, what's up, man?
Hey, Carmine. Good to see you. Hey, I just want to, quickly shout out to Warren, right, who set this up. What an absolute great series and educational package for everybody to learn from. It's all free if you sign up for the UIA. So it's really cool. I'm really honored to be hosting the next 10 weeks. And what a lineup we have, starting with today. What an absolute powerhouse lineup.
Oh, man, it's going to be a great show. I read some of the guests that you're lining up. I mean, you must be working your butt off, dude, getting these characters on here. It's a great shows that are going to be coming up. First off, I want to mention, dude, your whole setup looks good. I mean, the microphone, the background. I mean, you're a pro.
Hey, I got to keep up with you guys. I mean, it's time to step the game up, getting like guys like Tom Kelly on the show and Matchbox 20 guys and some another one of my famous dentist friends who are doing all of the NBA and NFL and rap stars teeth. So got to step up the game.
Oh, it's awesome, man. But I know you've been really busy lately. You got a lot of cool stuff happening. I don't know if you want to give anybody any updates or anything. You want to bring on our guests? We got a lot of ground to cover today.
Yeah. So let's talk quickly before we bring on our guests. So I've got some really big, exciting news to announce. I partner up with another Judy. So I've got two Judys now. Judy, who's we call her the queen of potty training, but she solved a problem much like our guest today, Judy Edwards, constipation for children. Judy did it on the adult side, and we'll let Judy talk about that. But my partner, who's absolutely amazing person, she just came up with a great idea, partnered with me, and guess what? I can't talk too much, but May 21st, if you tune into the Shark Tank finale, you're going to see us on the show.
Wow. That's amazing, dude. Well, congratulations. I know that we're going to have a lot of people tuning in to see what the heck happens to you on that show.
Yeah. So who would have thought I would have been hooked up with two Judys, right? Two queens and one for children and one for adults. So, hey, on that note, let's bring on our guest today, right? Absolute, one of the sweetest women I know. She's done so much and she's just a normal person. That's the best part. And now she's got all kinds of fame and gratification. And she came up with an amazing product called the Squatty Potty, which everyone has seen by now. If not, we're going to talk about that whole story. So Judy Edwards, welcome.
I am really happy to be here today. I always love to tell the Squatty Potty story.
It's absolutely an amazing story. You and I met, I want to say it was about 7 years ago. I had did some work on Good Morning America Shark Tank, and I was in an Ace Hardware Shark Tank aisle with all the big names like Scrub Daddy and Rita Rest and Drop Stop and Squatty Potty, and just met Judy's family. Just wonderful, wonderful people. And when you hear the stories, that's what I just absolutely get fascinated by. The risks that people are willing to take, and the end result is absolutely amazing. So Judy, let's talk a little bit about you. Like Judy's got, I don't know, we just talked 7 kids, 22 grandchildren, 9 great grandchildren, and she's doing all this work with Squatty Potty. How is that possible?
That makes me sound really old. I guess I am.
You don't look old, I can tell you that. And you don't act old, so that's a good sign.
Well, it's my vitamins.
So Judy, how did this start for you? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about what you were doing. And then, you had an idea and you acted. That's what I always say. You acted on the idea to make it a reality.
So I have been virtually a stay-at-home mom my entire life. So I'm not a person that is, was out looking for a job. But anyway, quite a few years ago, we built a new home. I put in a taller toilet, and my entire life I've had issues with constipation, and it made things worse. And so I finally went to a colon hydrotherapist, and she's want to introduce me to getting my knees above my waist. And I've never heard such a thing. And I come home and started researching the anatomy of the body, how it works. I even consulted with a doctor friend of mine, and he says, yeah, we learned this in medical school. You really should be squatting to use the bathroom. It opens up your colon and your puborectalis muscle. And I'm like, that was my, and then went to the computer and I typed in toilet stool because I wanted to get one. The stool I was using wasn't working good. It was in the way all the time. And I wanted to buy something that was made for the task. And in 2010, there wasn't such a thing as a toilet stool on the internet.
Crazy.
And I think that was kind of our aha moment. And then one day Bobby was at my home and my husband were sitting around the table and we were talking, and Bobby says, Mom, let's build a stool that wraps around the toilet, pushes in, you can stay, it's out of the way, and it's the right height and right width, and let's start selling it. He says it's going to help a lot of people. And I'm like, well, what do I know? How do we do that?
You know, it's funny because every inventor has that same feeling. What's next? Where do I go? How do I do this?
Yeah.
So glad, keep going. How did it happen?
So we were like, well, how do you talk about a product that nobody wants to talk about pooping? I mean, literally. But at the time, right before that, Dr. Oz and Oprah had talked about the proper way to poop and how important it was. They kind of introduced that subject, and it made it more acceptable at the time to talk about, because I mean, it's been taboo subject for a long time. In my household, it was taboo. You got your
we
mouthwash,
say it's the number one way to go number two.
Yes.
And what's your other line? Have you pooped today? Right?
Yeah.
It is an uncomfortable subject.
Yeah, you wear the buttons. I pooped today, you know.
Yeah, you had me wearing them at the Make 48, the Make 48 events we went to.
Yes. So we just thought, well, where do we start? You know, none of us had really had any experience in manufacturing, in selling a product or anything else. The only experience I had had is through the years by being a stay-at-home mom. I learned how to sell on auctions online. So I had a lot of computer experience, and I really knew the power of the internet and online selling. I knew that if we could put up a website and, you know, but I just didn't know how to market it. And so Bobby had a brilliant idea to start contacting bloggers. And at the time, bloggers were really popular and they had a lot of followers. And you contact health bloggers, they're the low hanging fruit on the tree because they're always interested in better health. And they don't mind talking about pooping. Mm-hmm. So we would send them, we put together a prototype and it was just wood, made out of wood and painted, and they were quite expensive to produce. That was our first Squatty Potty. And we sent those out to bloggers and said, we want you to use this. We give them information on it, and we want you to write about it. If you love it, write about it. If you don't love it, write about it. We don't really care, but we knew they were going to love it. And so we started getting some great reviews through bloggers. And of course, by then our website was up and they could put links to our website and just had programs like that. And so that's kind of where it really started. And we were in our garage at the time, just making stools and painting them and putting them together. And gosh, we knew really quickly that in order for us to really do this and have any kind of clientele and business at all, we had to produce it in plastic and make it cheap. People didn't want to pay $75 on a risk. A lot of people are willing to gamble. You see these new little gadgets online, you'll pay $20, $30 for something just to try it out. Well, and I knew that we had to keep that price point under 30. And so going plastic was the only way. And then of course we had to that was a whole new experience trying to contact, I got on Alibaba manufacturers in China. We priced it out in the States, and it was like $100,000 for a mold. And we're like, there's no way.
That's only because you didn't know me at the time.
Yeah, well,
I'm doing everything in the USA.
so things have changed a lot. And so we started producing them in China. And we, of course, had to move out of our garage. We ordered 2,000 stools, which was a big gamble for us. We thought, how are we going to sell 2,000 of these? And we bought a little, or rented a little warehouse. And the minute we moved into that warehouse, our stools came and they filled up one little corner. We're like, wow, what have we done? And right after that, we got a phone call. My husband answered the phone, and it was a lady from the Dr. Oz show. I mean, he didn't believe her. Our family plays prank calls all the time with each other. And so he didn't believe her. And he says, yeah, my name's Barack Obama. And she kind of took her back and she goes, no, I'm really from the Dr. Oz show. And he got like, what? The Dr. Oz show is contacting us. And she had actually bought a stool from one of the bloggers' recommendations and loved it and talked about it in a staff meeting. And they wanted to feature the Squatty Potty on a little segment they were doing, which was, that door was just opened. There's just so many doors that opened. Number one, because the product really helps people. Number two, it's a product that everybody can use. And, you know, there's just so many reasons why those doors opened. And number three is it's first to market. It's something brand new.
You know, Judy, you said a key word there. I can't tell you how many chances I had by taking an opportunity, like, you know, getting a call, doing all of the bloggers. Somebody saw it and the door opened up that probably changed your life. I mean, I feel that way sometimes too, that I had, you know, by chance had taken a stroll into Manhattan to get on Good Morning America, which changed my life. You know, and it's just amazing. If you're not present and doing those things, you don't have the opportunity. So I love to hear that.
Exactly. You have to work. I mean, you have to work for that. But those doors opened, and how grateful we were, because that immediately our sales, and that was right after we had got the plastic stools in. Of course, then we started ordering more and more and more, and our sales became, you know, pretty substantial at that time. We had to hire people to come in and package. We did our own fulfillment. Then we decided, all right, this is not going to work out from China, because you have to put an order in 3 months ahead. And I can't tell you during COVID how many people have just died in the water, because that's exactly what happened. Their product is sitting out in the water, and they, you know, months to get here. So we foresaw that. We knew that that was not going to work, that we wanted to have more control over our product and in ordering and getting that product to us at a quicker. So we took those molds, we had them send those molds to Utah. We found a manufacturer here and was able to produce them a lot.
Yeah, wow, that's a big difference. You're right. Well, you're so right. You think about it even now, right? That's just kind of some of my selling points. Think about buying them from China. You have to buy enough to get them in a crate to ship them. So now your cash is tied up because you got to pay before it gets here. You hope there's no quality problems, right? And then when you get into retail, you got to fulfill it. You're not going to see payment from the retailer for 90, 120 days. So you're tied, your cash is tied up, you know, 6 to 8 months. It's a huge risk, and not many people have that kind of cash to tie up. So really glad to hear you brought it back to the US.
Yeah, we found, I mean, we were so glad we did, because Shark Tank would have killed us.
Right. All right. Let's talk about that now. Now, you were in business for a little while, right? This didn't happen overnight. I always want people to understand that you said the key word there, hard work. This is not an easy venture. It takes time, a lot of patience, and you have the bumps, right? You have the lows and you have the highs. So let's talk a little bit about how long were you doing this before you said, hey, let's try to get on Shark Tank?
Well, so 2011 is when our website went up. About 2012 was when Dr. Oz contacted us. Then the following, within the next 6 months, Howard Stern got a hold of us and started talking about us. Robin, his co-host, had purchased one, loved it, talked about it, and then we saw a whole nother bump in sales at that point. And I think it was in 2013 when actually one of the producers of Shark Tank contacted us and says, I have one of your stools. I'd love you on the show. So she told us what we needed to do. You know, you have to put together the video, you know, all the stuff.
A lot of work. It's not an easy task getting on Shark Tank.
It's not. And we were at the deadline and it barely got in just in time. And it was not very good.
And that was season 6, right?
No, that was
6, episode 9, I believe.
Yeah. So that was season 5.
Oh, 5. Okay.
We did not make it that first year.
Ah, okay.
Because the producer called us and she was so disappointed. She says, you know, we have one producer that does not want this subject on TV. She says, so the next year she called us and she says, aren't you going to apply again? I go, well, I didn't know we could. She says, yeah, that producer's gone. I think you have a lot better chance of getting on now. So she kind of really helped and walked us through the things that we had done wrong before. And that was the year we got on in 2014.
Yeah. So that's interesting. I didn't know that you had that mishap in season 5, but again, it just shows to show you it's not easy, right? You've got one person who's it's already a tough subject, right? We know that. We said that. Now it's coming. You brought it to a whole nother level. We'll talk about that in a minute with the unicorn video, but you brought it to a whole different perspective for somebody who's had this problem now, says, oh my God, there is something in the market. But you've got producers now on shows telling you, yeah, I'm not interested, can't talk about it, right? So you got to do all of this work to get products sold, to bring it in. You got people saying no. How do you weather that storm? How do you keep moving forward?
Well, you know, one of the first comments I heard was from my neighbor. We barely first started Squatty Potty. And he was talking to me one day and he says, how do you dare sell a product like this? He says, aren't you embarrassed? I'm like, yeah, I'm embarrassed all the way to the bank.
I'm glad you said that. I mean,
I'm like, are you kidding me? I says, it might be a subject you don't like to talk about, but this is a huge problem for a lot of people. And when you know you're helping a lot of people, it sure makes it a lot easier to talk about it. That's
right.
Sure.
So you've got now you've got not only the producer on ABC saying, yeah, we're not going to show it. You got a neighbor saying, yeah, you're crazy, right? I can't tell you how many times I've heard that. And then I'm sure, which we haven't talked about that yet, you got people trying to rip you off, right? Copy it.
Oh,
Talk about that a little bit.
Right from the beginning. And they have. If you get on Amazon or anywhere, you type in Squatty Potty, you're going to see a dozen of them. But the thing of it is what has really saved us there is we can't fight them, all of them. Right. There's a few battles that we have fought and won. If they produce a stool that looks exactly like ours, we can fight it. Because our first stool actually only had a design patent, and you're not really protected very well with that. Actually, you're not very protected very well with any patent.
Well, and we had, honestly, we had an interview with Josh Malone we just did. You know the story.
Yeah, I know Josh. Yeah,
right? A bunch of balloons. Honestly,
yeah.
Subject with Josh has blown up on LinkedIn. Like I've gotten over 22,000 views because people can relate to it. I mean, here's a guy who had all of the patents all locked up and it didn't matter. He had to fight it not once, but twice. Yeah. Right. And not many people would go that distance 5 years and fight that hard. They would have bailed out. So, you're right. You have to be selective. And
then you have to have a lot of money to fight it. And in the meantime, that lockup is making tons of money. And I know it's really crazy. Do you remember the guy that had the hose?
Yeah, Michael Bernardi. Yeah, the X-hose. He told me the same story.
Same thing. He went through the same thing and finally had a settlement, but it took years. In the meantime, the other company is knocking him off all over the world and making billions of dollars.
Right.
So we just picked and choose our battles. The
Yeah,
one
I
thing
think he had mentioned to me at one time, and this is at the Make 48 that you and I were on the same panel.
Yeah.
He had like $300 million in lawsuits.
Yeah,
I can't wrap my head around that.
you're right, right.
You know, and it's funny because how I met him, I told him that Brandy was using his product and it was horrible. It wasn't lasting, and he said it's not my product.
The knockoff. Yeah.
He said it's not. It's not black, right? And it doesn't have the brass connections. I go, no. He goes, it's not mine. I'm going to send you a couple of mine. And honestly, I used those. I left them out all winter. I had them for 2 or 3 years with not one problem. Where the other ones, I'm telling you, were like leaking within months. Some of them weeks. They were so cheap. So I mean, I could see why you would get heated over a subject like that. You got a great product out there. Somebody just ripped you off, selling it at the same price, and it's junk. Literally, it's junk.
Yeah, so the one advantage we have with Squatty Potty is we're first to market. It's a toilet stool. It's also called a Squatty Potty. Everybody's toilet stool now is called a Squatty Potty. They call it that. So it's like Levi's or any brand name like that. And so the advantage that we had is our trademark, because no one can use Squatty Potty in reference to their toilet stool. And most people that type in and want a toilet stool, they'll type in a Squatty Potty, and of course that we come up first. So that really is an advantage, that trademark, is we can go after, we've gone after a lot of people using the term Squatty Potty,
Mm-hmm.
and we can always win that fight.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about some numbers now, some revenue numbers, if you're okay with that. So,
Okay.
so before you went on Shark Tank, you're grinding it out. You were working your butt off.
We were really doing, we felt like really well for a couple of years in business. We had, we have never had to borrow money.
That's amazing.
It was amazing. It started producing enough, that it paid its way right from the very beginning. So that we feel really fortunate there. Also, gosh, now
I think about it this way. You had some sales, right? So you had sales. You had been doing it for how many years? 4 or 5 years before Shark Tank?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so you had some revenue. You had something that you could jump on the show with. I mean, regardless of what that producer said, he obviously was wrong, right? Because I mean, the end of the day, we know where you are today.
Mhm.
But you had some revenue, and even at that, you had to deal with the subject matter. Again, tough
Exactly.
subject. Had to go through it. So you get on Shark Tank. I don't know if you want to talk about the numbers before Shark Tank and some of the numbers after, but I know that they blew up. Right? Your numbers went off the chart.
Yeah, before Shark Tank, the year before we were on in 2013, our sales, I think, were $1.5 million. And then when we went on the show, Shark Tank, you film it in the spring and it doesn't even air till the fall. At that point, we had already reached 2 million in sales. And then our projections for that year was 7. And I
Wow.
think that they were blown away.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that
most people with $2 to $7 million of sales without having any cash issues or any investor is absolutely amazing.
It was amazing. I know it was. We are still we really feel fortunate that things went as smoothly as they did. And it was really, we feel really blessed.
And the beauty of it, Judy, when I hear you say, you said it, we didn't know anything about manufacturing. So you jumped into an arena, right? You knew a little bit about marketing and how to get it seen, but to do that and take that risk, I mean, that's what America is all about, right? That's what the entrepreneurial spirit's all about. Somebody diving into an arena, not sure exactly what they're getting themselves into, but pushing through, taking the risks. I mean, and we'll get down to the really finale of where you are today. But man, the story and the drive is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it was. I really feel, though, that we did have a lot of doors open to us that were just unbelievable doors.
Well, you solved a real problem.
Because we were solving a problem for people. And I think that's why those doors opened. It was a product that was really helping a lot of people. And it became a novelty Christmas gift. So people love to give the Squatty Potty to their friends and family for Christmas with some poop spray and a plunger and a, whatever.
Yeah, see,
They
that's
love
interesting,
it.
right?
It works.
Because I didn't know you, and Brandy had bought some of these. This is before we even knew you, and gave it to her family. And
Yeah.
when I met you for the first time at the Shark Tank, I already knew you had a good product. It was a little bit like Aaron. Brandy's mother gave us a Scrub Daddy, and I didn't know him, right? And the product was great. So it's a little bit about who you are as well, right? Being able to get it out there, but you also made a good quality product that solved a real problem.
It did solve a real problem for a lot of people. We got emails every day giving us way more credit than we deserved. But I mean, I don't know how many people that said, "You have saved my life."
Yeah.
And I'm like, really?
How's that make you feel?
For some, oh, fantastic. It makes you want to just keep going. And if you want to be entertained for the day, read all the reviews on Amazon. They're hilarious.
Yeah. And you have quite a few of them.
Yes.
Okay. So now you come out of the tank. You made a deal, right?
We made a deal with Lori.
Mm-hmm.
And, we were already in Bed Bath & Beyond, but Lori took us to the front of the store. Just being on Shark Tank, people don't realize this. It's not even about the deal. It's just being seen by 30 million people. That's huge. We had a product that needed to educate people. If we had just gone to a store and put our Squatty Potty in a store without exposure like that, you'd walk by it and not even have a clue what it was. So the education was huge for us. And to have that platform of 30 million people was amazing to be able to have that door open.
So how did you feel? The Shark Tank doors opened up. You and Bobby walked through them. Tell me the emotional state. How did you feel? Sharks are in front of you, watching them on TV, and now they're 20 feet away.
Well, I'm just barely able to watch Shark Tank without getting emotional, without feeling like scared to death. And remembering how it was I almost have PTSD over it.
Well, I can relate to it, so I know what you mean.
I mean, it was probably the scariest thing we've ever done. And after the show, you have to see a psychiatrist before you leave, because they want to make sure you're not going to go home and blow your brains out because you didn't get a deal or something.
I know
I thought the whole thing was very frightening, and you never know what to expect. The sharks, you never know what you're going to get. So
I agree with you 100%. And I think about this now, right? So you get out of Shark Tank, you're pinching yourself, right? You're not even, does this really happen? And then what happens? You start getting known. You start getting sales.
Well, we have a period of time to prepare, because you're probably going to be aired. And we talked quite a bit in depth with Lori and with the producers to say, well, what does this usually do? How much inventory do we need? And they says, oh, if you have 20,000 units, you'll be fine. Well, we blew through 20,000 units within the first few hours after Shark Tank.
Wow.
And we were like, okay, now it was fun to watch. We actually had an algorithm on our computer, and we could watch how many people were online on our website. And when it aired in New York, thousands of people on our website, thousands of orders coming in. And then by the time it gets to the West Coast, we're like sick to our stomach, because we haven't got.
How are you going to fill the orders?
How are we going to fill this? It was literally one of the probably toughest situations that we've ever faced, is too many orders. Literally, I thought we're gonna die before we start.
So Carmine, think of this, Carmine. You wait your whole life for this moment, and then it happens, and you go, "What did I do?"
Hey, Judy, real quick. Did you let your factory know, hey, listen, we got to start making these and storing them up? I mean, you knew you were going to sell a bunch, right?
Well, at that point, that's when we were really grateful we were in the U.S. And we actually had 2 manufacturers. We had ordered another set of molds to be made, and they had them in production. So we were set up. So anyway, they just started hiring people, and they were running 24/7. I mean, 24 hours, 7 days a week. And it still took us, we aired in November, and it took us till November or February to catch up on those orders.
Judy, what type of tool did you have? Did you have a single cavity, double cavity, 4-cavity?
It's a single, well, we had a single cavity to start, but I think the second set was a double cavity.
Yeah, okay, that definitely makes sense. So there you go, Carmine. So you get on the biggest show in the world, and you become an overnight sensation, and you look at each other and go, what did we just do? Because 3 months of our life now, it was going to be absolutely miserable.
It was miserable. That February, all through Christmas, it was the worst Christmas I've ever had.
Who knew?
We're like, we have got to retire. We're too old for this.
Wow.
So Judy, how long now? How long are you in the cycle? How many years now? So you went to Shark Tank, you came out, it blew up. How many years has that been since the first ones you did?
Since we started,
since you started early in your garage.
Oh, we started in for 2010, we had these little made squatty potties from my neighbor, and I give them to my friends and family for Christmas and give them the information. I just wanted them to try them. I wanted to try it out and see if people really liked them. Then we got such favorable response, we decided, that's when we'd start putting our website up. 2011 is when we actually really started our website. By 2012, our website was up and running, and our bloggers had been contacted. So we had, each year.
So your Shark Tank, you're up in that 5, 6, 7 year range?
From 2011 to 2014, what?
Okay, so there you go. So now you got things moving, right? Now you got sales. Now you're learning manufacturing faster than you ever thought. You're learning fulfillment. You're learning what it's like to be a celebrity.
So after that, we already knew about the Harmon Brothers and their ability to produce these wonderful videos. And we had already contacted them before Shark Tank, and it was just too pricey. We just didn't feel like we could jump off that cliff yet. But then after Shark Tank, that gave us the funds to go to the Harmon Brothers and have them produce the unicorn video. That was a really fun process because they invited us to a retreat up at a cabin. We had 3 days of, no communication, just talking with them, and they presented 3 ideas that they had come up with. Their writers are brilliant. They've just got some brilliant stuff.
So let's talk about that. So now, right, I see this unicorn video for the first time. I'm sure everyone has seen it because it went viral. I said to myself, what is that? A unicorn doing a rainbow ice cream, pooping a rainbow ice cream. There's no way. It can't be. And it went viral. So talk about that. Talk about, like you said, I saw videos and talked to you about, like, there's no way. You're nervous. People are saying you're crazy. It's going to mess up your brand. And it did the opposite for you.
Oh yeah, it drew in. That video now has had over 200 million views.
200 million views. We're talking about 22,000, 100,000 YouTube watches. Carmine, what are we doing wrong? 20.
We need a unicorn.
Million views.
Unicorn. The kids watch over and over and over again.
Yeah. So talk about that. You're sitting down, you're nervous, you got some anxiety. Man, we're going to spend a lot of money, right? What did you tell me? It was $250,000 for the video, and you spent $1 million promoting it. I mean, it's not like coffee money anymore. Now you're talking about some real cash.
Yeah, it's real serious. And we had no idea. We took a gamble on that, not knowing. But the unicorn video within just a few months blew up our sales 600%.
Yeah.
They had already was up because of Shark Tank, but this thing playing over and over again made it consistent. So even the stores that we were in, they noticed a 600% increase in the sales of their products. So that was another time we got out of everything.
So think about that. So 600%. So you already got this big momentum wave. You're already shipping more as you can handle. And then you say, well, let's really mess up our lives. Let's do this crazy video and blow the sales off the chart.
But we were more prepared this time.
Right. So talk about that a little bit. You guys are all sitting down, right? Well, I mean, where did you come up with? Who came up with a unicorn pooping out and a rainbow ice cream? I mean, it looks delicious until you say he's pooping it out, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Again, a sensitive subject that you took and made it amazing, made it fun. Kids want it. It's unbelievable.
The philosophy was you really can't sell poop, but you can sell ice cream. Everybody loves ice cream. So that was why they went that direction. Everybody loves ice cream. You can watch ice cream being pooped and it's fine.
Yep. So when they were proposing it, what were you guys thinking? I mean, you had a couple of different ideas, right? What were you guys thinking?
Well, me and Bill are in the older category, so we didn't catch on right immediately.
Yeah.
But the minute he said to me, everybody loves ice cream, that was like, okay, I trust you guys. This looks good. I think, and then as they read us the script and it was just hilarious. We're all rolling on the floor because the script was so hilarious. We're like, yeah, this is going to work.
And what did you say? You said 200 million?
It's had over 200 million views.
200 million views. Okay, then you've got not just a unicorn, right? That's become kind of a stationary thing for you, which we'll talk about that in a minute. You roll off some other products. But how about the accent and the knight in shining armor type of thing? Where did that come from?
It come from them. They were just genius. That's all I can say.
Because it fits it perfect.
It does. Yeah.
Wow, that's come on. We got a new benchmark there, right? 200 million. I can't, again, 200 million. I saw it when it was 41 million, blown away. Yeah. Saying, what am I missing?
It's so close to how
avenues. We figure it's been seen through all the avenues over 200 million times.
Wow.
And we quit promoting that video several years ago. So, that's really slowed down because we're no longer promoting it.
Wow. And Judy, just over the years, I've noticed that there are some big companies that kind of took a cue, I believe, from your commercial.
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, they realize that they can advertise certain types of things by doing, bears and different kinds of animals. I think that all stemmed from yours.
And it's funny, Carmen, I forget where I read this. One of the articles Judy was featured in. So she admired to be a fashion designer. So maybe that's where this unicorn really came out of, right? Somebody realized what she was really after, because that's pretty fashionable, right? A unicorn pooping a beautiful rainbow ice cream. And then let's talk about that. Then you spun other products off of that. Brilliant. They got sprays and go ahead, talk about that a little bit, Judy.
And ice cream.
Yeah.
Well, we just felt like that we needed to expand our market, our SKUs, and everybody has a different style of home. So we got into really designing some terrific looking squatty potties. I don't know if you've seen the Ghost.
I have.
They're Squatty Potty. I have people walk in my home. I have them at every toilet in my house. And they'll walk by and they'll go, "Where's your Squatty Potty?" And I'm like, "It's there." They have to kind of double take because they don't even notice it.
Wow.
So that's been really popular. It's kind of expensive, so we don't sell as many of those. But that's we have a design for everybody's home. So
and there you go, Carmen. That's where that fashion. See, she had that in the back of her mind all along. Now she took her product to a level of bringing it fashionable. You want to spend $100 or whatever it costs? There you go. We got one. We got it covered all across the board.
Yeah.
And how about the sprays? I think that's another great one.
Yeah. Well, we just felt like that. Yeah. There was a lot of sprays out at the time. It wasn't a new idea that we came up with, but we just felt like it would really incorporate well in our brand. And we just decided to produce our own spray as well. That was quite a process as well, trying to get that up and going. And
so how do you have all of these products now? You have all these different products that all stemmed from something you dreamt about, right? You had an idea, started in a garage. I mean, the story is absolutely amazing to where you are today.
Yeah,
So now, I'm guessing when you go to a store, people recognize you.
yeah, we never had any idea. I didn't. Maybe I just didn't have the vision. My husband says he always felt like it would be. He had the vision more than I did about it being a as big as it was. My goal. We were 60 when all this came to tuition, and
Well, Judy, you look like you're 50, so you might be lying right now.
well, I'm a little older than that, but anyway, you can do the math. See how so anyway, we had our own business our whole life. We had done several different things, moved from one thing to another to another. We're both very entrepreneurial minded. I had been selling a few little things online. My husband had a bulk feed commodities business. We'd gone broke on that several times, took out bankruptcy twice in our life because of business. I mean, we've had our ups and downs. We know what it's like to jump off cliffs. And people ask me all the time, well, at 60, we were pretty tired, and we were broke. We didn't even have our home paid for. So these businesses can really play its toll on you. So for us to jump off a cliff again, but I tell people, really, when you fail is when you become so paralyzed over your failure that you quit trying. So, you can't let failure paralyze you, or you'll never get anywhere.
Yeah, I love you being so honest and candid, because people need to hear that. It's not, I got an idea, I'm going to make a product and make millions off it. It doesn't work like that.
No.
And there are some people who have that, unfortunately, a misconception. To hear you talk about it, again, you haven't changed one bit from the day I met you to our last phone call. I mean, that's a compliment, Judy. I mean, you are who you are, and it's pretty cool. And to be able to talk about having that many difficulties, because there absolutely is a lot of bumps. There's no question. There's a lot of bumps. There's a lot of gut-wrenching sessions when you're dealing with your own cash and you're not sure what the outcome is going to be.
With life in general, raising 7 children was no
picnic
trip to Disneyland.
No, it's no unicorn,
Yeah, it was tough. We just had to keep going our entire life. I think we just still had a lot of fight in us, and hopefully I still do. Although I am retired now. We retired from the company 3 years ago.
Okay.
Still sit on the board. We sold half the company and took money off the table for retirement, and just wanted to have a few years of not working so dang hard.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I mean, I always think about the McDonald guy, right? What was he? I always talk about that, like, you're never too old.
No,
and Judy just proved that point again, right? McDonald was like, what, 52? Judy's talking about she was 60. I'm 58. You're never too old. And I don't know. I have that drive. I still have that drive. I'm definitely not like I used to be, right? I'm not that, like the young, energetic 24 hours around the clock, but I give it a good run. I definitely, when I sleep now, I sleep a lot harder.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's no question.
Too many times.
Hey, real quick, Judy, we got a couple questions that came in through our live stream. One of the questions was there one of the products or one of the colors or one of the ideas that just was a bomb, just didn't work?
Oh, color wise, I don't know. We'd put a few colors up. If they don't do any good, we, take them down. The one thing that was really a bomb was probably our plunger, because it didn't plunge.
Well, that's about it. It doesn't work.
It does now. You know what? I don't even know if we still sell it. I like I say, I haven't been there for 3 years, so I don't know what the current stuff is, but we produced this plunger. It was so cute, and it didn't work.
Wow, that's funny.
It was a great novelty gift, but
Yeah.
we did fix it. It does work now, so.
So you can buy it again.
You can buy it.
This one will work. You heard it first here.
That's great. And you had said another question. You had said the first versions of your products were made out of wood.
Oh yeah, they were not. They were just made out of wood, out of the.
Hey, proof of concept.
Yeah, well, we knew that wasn't going to work from the beginning, but we just wanted to get it out there and people start using it and started getting feedback. You know, to invest in the manufacturing and molds and everything, you want to be pretty sure your product's going to work. And so we just kind of tested the ground with the wooden stool. Wood is not a great product in the bathroom to wash. Any kind of, gets heat on and whatever, and it doesn't wipe up very well after a few times. You're rubbing off the paint. We found out real quick that was not the best product in the bathroom.
So Judy, you talked a little bit about now you're kind of out of it. You're on the board. So you ended up selling it to a bigger company. Is that what happened?
We sold out to a company back east, and they actually brought in the CEO, and it's been good and bad in some ways. They took over. They were a lot more professional than us. They knew figures. They knew what they needed to do. They knew how to cut corners. At one point we had, I don't even remember, quite a few millions of sales in 1 year, and our bottom line stunk. We made $1 million. Well, now our sales, of course, we had Costco 1 year, which was $10 million order, and Costco doesn't last. So when Costco, we quit selling to Costco, then the sales went back down $10,000, $15,000 that year. And, but they have made it, they've been able to go in and crunch those numbers, and gosh, our bottom line's going to be, I think somewhere around $5 million on half the amount of sales.
Yeah.
You know what's beautiful about what you just said? So I've been doing this my whole life, right? Like my goal is always to make the bottom line the best possible. So I do it in efficient ways. So here in your case, you knew what you were really good at, and you knew your limitations.
Exactly.
Right? So that you got it to a certain level, and that's another key point for exit strategy: when to get out.
Yeah.
You knew what you're good at. You knew what you're not good at. You knew that this bigger company could come in, give you, even if the sales were lower, can improve the bottom line,
Exactly.
which they did. And it's a win-win for everybody. Now you're not banging your head anymore. You got a bigger company that streamlined things, made it more efficient, and improved the bottom line and cash flow.
And it makes it easier to walk away if you're 65 or 70 years old too.
Yeah, I see you're giving up your age. I wouldn't be doing that. I got you in the 50s, Judy. Don't be giving up your age so easy. No, but it's a valid point. I think, after doing it 5, 6, 7 years, you have to have an exit strategy. Otherwise, when you enjoy life, because money is not everything. Okay, but you had an opportunity to make some money, which I'm sure is nice when you drive by your neighbor's house now.
I think there are a few people money driven, and it's never enough. I was just happy to have a house paid for,
right,
and to have enough in the bank for retirement. I'm thrilled. Yeah. That's just who I am.
So I see you hiking all the time. I see you in these mountains and you're in areas that look scary. So what's life like for Judy Edwards now and her family?
Oh my goodness. My family's very adventurous. I have we've kayaked the Nepali coastline. We have rappelled down the cliffs of Zion. It's pretty adventurous. I'm not nearly as adventurous as I used to be. You get a little cautious in your old age. You realize you can die.
Yeah, doing some of the adventures you're doing.
So anyway, my husband loves to backpack. That's why we live where we do. We live right on the outskirts of Zion National Park and the Grand Canyon. We can get in our side-by-side and drive down the Grand Canyon on a dirt road in a couple of hours and be at the edge of the Grand Canyon.
And do you ever sit back, you're sitting at home and you're sitting down on the couch and you're just looking around and thinking, do you ever do that and say, man, look what I came from. Look where I am today. You ever
Oh,
do that?
every day I wake up feeling blessed. I have this beautiful home and I have this view that's amazing. And I have these big windows in my bedroom and I wake up every morning and look out and they have these hot air balloons that fly up in the fall and in the summer, in the spring and fall. And we've got 4 or 5 hot air balloons floating by our window. And yeah, I just feel like, whoa, pinch me. I don't even want to go anywhere when we go on vacation. I just love where we're at. I love being home. I love this area. It really offers everything for us. But yeah, I'm pinching myself all the time.
Like I said, you're the same person I met the very first day, which I love that even more about you. But I think about you with your families when you have your birthday party. How many people are at the house when you have one of the kids' birthday parties?
Oh, well, not all of our kids live close. So at Thanksgiving, I have this couch that seats 30 people in my living room. And it was completely full of grandkids. And I took this big picture of all my, those are the things that we really live for, is those moments when our families can be together. I'm a very family oriented person and always have been. So those are the things that I really value the most. And now with the money and the time, I can live that and they can. It's just really enjoyable to have our family here. I built a home. I actually put in this big bunk room in my house. It's got 4 queen beds and a big couch and a big TV, and the kids just pile in there. I've had 15 kids from college in there spending the weekend. That's what I live for, is that I can share what I have with my family and friends. So to be able to do that is a huge blessing in my life, that I have that opportunity to be able to have that for my family.
Boy, I absolutely love that. I think about my mother, right? She lived to be almost 92 and she had nothing really. I mean, I think about how we grew up. We grew up in the city. Dad was traveling, working, they didn't have any money back then.
And it's okay. You learn from that.
Yes.
Those
No,
are
100%.
experiences that if you don't have those, appreciate the good times. Without that struggles, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I look back and I'm like, I wouldn't trade one single ounce of that, because that's what made me, and that's what gave me the the preparation for where I'm at now, to be able to, gratitude is just really what it's all about.
Well, I mean, I agree with you 1,000%. I came from a house just absolutely full of love. This woman was amazing. I think about track practices, getting home at 8 o'clock at night, always had a hot meal. I was getting recognized in the school newspapers and she was so proud. I just came from just I feel like I was raised by a strong woman. My dad was out working and traveling and, he had to do what he had to do to make a living. But I was raised by a strong woman with a lot of love, man. And you said it, the gratitude I have, I try to give back whenever I can, because to me, I'd rather give than take any day of the year. It just feels better. And having that foundation, like you just said, it's just, you can't describe it. So watching you go through all this, and again, not even knowing you right back in the day, I just watch you on Facebook and, we had our chances to talk and meet and do these Make 48 events. It's pretty cool. It's a really cool story. And I look at it and say, man, this is what the American dream is all about. It really is.
Yeah. Yep. That's true. Yeah.
It's
and be able to learn from your mistakes. That's another thing that's, through the years I found is so important, is, take those mistakes and, learn from them and improve that. Yeah. You might fall off here. You might fall off there. You might have had this terrible divorce, or you might be an addict, or you might whatever. Learn from it and move forward. There's great things out there to learn from failure.
And listen to your story. You didn't have it easy. It wasn't easy. That's what that's what makes it, even to me, that much more gratifying, right? You had the bumps, you had the stumbles, and you kept going. Not many people have that. I mean, it's got to be a passion that you love, and you've got to be able to take a little bit of risk. and it's a gut-wrenching right situation, but you found a way to do it. And I get, for all our listeners out there, I mean, if this is not a story that you can build off of your own momentum and your own stories, I don't know what else is, because this is one that started in a garage, and today looking out your window every morning, pinching yourself.
Yeah, and if there's one piece of advice that I like to give people, just remember what goes around comes around. Always. Always. That is
so true. I always say good things happen to good people, and it really is true. I feel, I feel blessed that I have two Judys in my life, my partner Judy and the Judy Edwards of Squatty Potty. I mean, it's just a great story, and you've always been an absolute pleasant person to talk with and to be around. You're always positive. I mean, again, that's a lot to do with success, is having the right attitude. Because it's easy to say the glass is half empty versus half full, right? Anybody can do that. It's the ones that keep striving. I mean, I've been through a lot too. I mean, I've got my own stories. I always go back to my foundation and what my mother and how she raised me and how I felt really strong because of that. And I always felt I want to make her proud. That was always my motive. And to help other people has been great for me. And, to have this opportunity to be on Shark Tank and to have finally be aired, the whole story that you're waiting and waiting. It's a blessing. So I've got two Judys in my life. I'm extremely blessed.
Well, thank you. You're making me blush.
No. Hey, so Judy, what's one last thing you can tell our audience that they can take away as a solid nugget? I mean, you have no quit in you. That's clear as day. You knew when to get out and let somebody else take it to another level and benefit from it. So what's the nugget? What's that one nugget?
Gosh, I think I just said it. What goes around comes around. But I really think that there's two things in your life that is so important. And one is gratitude. Wake up every morning with being grateful. If you even have had the worst day, you look at the good things that is in your life and play good music. Surround yourself with things that are good thoughts, good actions. And, that's such an important thing. I know I've had days when I'm down. I mean, literally, believe me, I've had some pretty rough, and I find my thoughts not going where they need to be. And, that doesn't turn around until I start being grateful, count your blessings. And then I think another really important thing is humility. Know what you can do and what you can't do, and be willing to let go of those things that you can't do well. Some people just want to control it all, and they're not good at everything. Nobody is good at everything.
That's such a key point right there. You got to know what you're good at and what you're not good at.
And be willing to admit it. Be humble to say, okay, I'm not good at that. That's okay.
Yeah. I run big organizations, right? I've been director of engineering for Ford and running BMW plants. I know what I'm good at, and I know what I'm not good at. And when I wasn't good at it, I had somebody in that role that complimented me and can do the function. And I'm telling you, I've had teams that I've had in my court that have been absolutely amazing. We've broken all kind of records, done amazing things. So you said it perfect. And I would say on this note, Carmine, I would say to anybody listening, if this can't get you motivated, then you don't have a pulse. This story is true entrepreneurship. It's what America's made of. And here's a woman, a sweet woman, who started in her garage at age 60. I don't believe it, but we'll just go with that. At age 60. And look at her today. Absolutely amazing success story. And I'm proud to know you, Judy, really. Not just because of Shark Tank and Squatty Potty, because of who you are and the person you are. I really respect that, and I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Judy. Yeah. Judy, it's great. It was so great having you on, Judy. It really is. It is inspiring. That's where I went. You guys saw me run out. I went and grabbed some old inventions out of my closet. Oh. I mean, this show is just getting me to get started again. It's crazy. So I want all you listeners out there to know, please, if you're enjoying our TV shows, our workshops, our education series, please subscribe to UIA-TV. It'll really help us knowing what you want to hear, how we're doing, and you'll be able to get notified when our show goes live. Please go on out also to the UIA website. That's UIAUSA.org, and become a member of the United Inventors Association. We can certainly help with any questions, anything you need. It's free, so there's no reason not to be a member. I thank Judy Edwards for being on today. What a great story, and we wish you all the luck in the world. It's just such a great story, and great having you on the show. It really is. For Ms. Christopher Guerrera, thank you for putting this together, and we will catch you next Thursday, Chris. I'll give you 10 seconds, Chris. Who's on next Thursday?
Oh, we got next week is Johnny George. He's a farmer from Georgia, and he did a great deal, a really emotional Shark Tank appearance.
Okay.
And I'll leave the rest. I'll just give you that teaser. But he's another great guy, really passionate, and had a great story on Shark Tank. So you'll hear about it next week.
Awesome. Well, we're definitely looking forward to that. I thank you all for listening, all for tuning in. For myself, Carmen Danisco, for Christopher Guerrera, and Judy Edwards, thank you so much for listening, and we will catch you